Hey guys, how we doing? So today I am super excited to talk to you guys about vision. I'm excited for a few reasons. One, because it really takes me back on my journey. And first of all, I can't believe that I've literally been a coach for almost 5 years now. But I really feel like the power of having a vision for this business is really the thing that will obviously make your business work. And I don't mean to say obviously like that, but I looking back now 5 years ago, I wish that I had the mindset and the vision that I have now. But I really feel like throughout this roller coaster of a journey, it's really what helped me create the vision. But if there's anything that I can do today for you guys, I really hope that I can just share my heart with you, talk about my journey and how I am here 5 years later. Because I can't lie, guys, it was a really freaking hard road. um, really figuring out what my vision was and how I really felt like I could make this business work for me and my crazy lifestyle being a mom of three. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and dive in and share a little bit of my story with you guys. I decided that I wanted to become a coach after I got my mom a humongous transformation. Not saying that you have to get somebody a transformation to start out, but with that being said, 3 months after my mom did the 21-day fix in the portion control container, she was down 94 pounds in 3 months. I have to repeat that instantly in my heart. Like, it was just one of those moments to where I try not to get too emotional whenever I talk about it, but that's the power that we have here, to truly change and transform someone's life. But I need to take it a step further. It just wasn't that she lost 94 pounds. That's not what was a big deal to me. Yes, that is a humongous number and a humongous number on the scale. But what I noticed was my mom, for the first time, seeing the person that she was, that she had the ability to be, her energy started coming out. She was now taking selfies and sending me selfies. And before, she would always avoid the pictures. And I saw this spark in her that still, whenever I think about it, I can't help but to get emotional about it. But that is really the main reason why I decided to become a coach at the very beginning. I just wanted to help people transform their lives. And I felt such a humongous purpose and calling just to share what this was, just to help other people that needed this in their lives, because I'm a firm believer in what we offer here at Team Beachbody. And I truly believe that we are the full entire package. But whenever someone like your mom has that humongous transformation, losing 94 pounds in 4 months, and she gains her back, and she sees herself in a whole new light, it really just creates a fire underneath your ass. So I can't lie, like my first year in this business, it really wasn't about a paycheck for me. I'm going to be honest. It was more about, I felt a humongous purpose. I felt a calling, like I needed to get everybody on board with this. And that's what I did. But it was a little bit of a roller coaster because, once again, I didn't see it as a business. I saw it as, I am just here to help transform people's lives physically. I didn't think financially and emotionally. And I think it's because I wasn't there yet, because I still needed to work and develop myself, to really figure out what it was that I even wanted for this business. So kind of fast forward a little bit, I had my daughter, and I shortly realized that my heart fully was at home with her. My husband worked afternoon shift. I was working during the day, teaching preschool. It was my dream job. I still paying on that degree. um, and it was really hard because I finally felt like I got myself in a good school. I finally felt like I had my job that I could retire with. It's what I went to school for. I tried many jobs out to land this job. Um, but something funny happens after you have children. And even though I felt like I had the perfect schedule, guys, that was actually something that even made me want to pursue a life in teaching, is because I was like, great, I'll have like the teacher schedule. I'll be able to go to school when my kids go to school. I'll be able to be home when they're home. Well, it doesn't work that way whenever they're newborns in the first 4 to 5 years of their lives. And then even count on them never being sick, right? So yeah, there's going to be a lot of days that you're going to end up missing. And for me, that weighed so heavy on my heart. I remember, oh my gosh, it was so hard for me. And I don't know, I hate it that I get so emotional about this stuff, but I just remember whenever I would go to school, and here I had all of these amazing little children, and I absolutely adored them. But here my heart was literally with my daughter. And my husband worked afternoon shift. At the time, I maybe saw my husband for a total of maybe a 1 hour span and a 7 day span. So maybe an hour and 7 days I saw him completely, just because our opposites were completely scheduled. And we were really just trying to make ends meet, being new parents, right? But then something happened. We ended up getting pregnant with our second child. And I immediately felt this humongous pit in my stomach. I was like, babe, I don't know what to do. Our full entire income from my paycheck would be going straight to daycare. And finally, my husband stood up, and I'm so thankful he did, because I'm someone that I hate letting somebody else down. He was like, babe, your full paycheck would be going to daycare. What is the point of torturing yourself every single day? Because he even knew how I was. I was that crazy mom that had the monitor on her phone, and I would check in all hours of the day with her, just to make, I knew that she was okay. She was with my husband, and we only needed a babysitter about 30 minutes out of the day. But it was so hard to leave her, knowing even that my husband hardly had any sleep. And it was just such a chaotic time after we had our daughter, trying to figure out schedules. It was almost damn near impossible. But with that being said, whenever we found out that we were pregnant with the second, he was just like, we just can't. So after praying very, very hard on it, asking for answers, if this is what I was meant to do, if I was supposed to, just throw away my college education, my college degree, and quit this job that I finally felt like I landed something amazing, right? It's hard to get your dream job, guys. But with that being said, it was just, I knew that it was so heavy on my heart, and I was having such a hard time making the decision, because one, I didn't want to let someone else down, but two, guys, like, you go and you get your college degree, like, that meant something to me. And it's something that I was very proud of. And the fact now that I was going to put that on hold, it was really a sucker punch to the gut. But my mom said it best. She was like, because I'm telling you guys, I was a hot mess for probably a month. She was like, Jess, I'm going to say it to you like this. You can always get another job. You will not be able to get these memories back. And I thank God every day that she put those words in my heart, because that was really the final decision for me. I'm like, oh my God, she's right. How could I live with myself knowing that I wasn't able, and I didn't give my children all of me for those 4 precious years, the vital years. And I'm not saying that that's for everybody, guys, but this was my heart, and my mom knew my heart. She knew that the whole reason why I got a degree in child development was because I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be a present mom. And to me, it was a no-brainer. So as soon as she said that, I was kind of like a ton of bricks lifted off my shoulders. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you were so right. So I made that decision. I went ahead and I told the principal, my boss, that I would no longer be returning, and he completely understood. He was very kind-hearted about it. He totally got it. But with that being said, even after I quit my job teaching preschool, a funny thing happened to me. I've been working since I've been 14. So to quit cold turkey and to put a woman in a house 24/7 with 2 children under the age of 2, I mind you, under the age of 2, I was going crazy. But it wasn't the fact that I was, in the house. Like, I could totally handle that aspect. It was the fact that for the first time, I lost my sense of independence. I lost who Jess was. So I went from being 14, working 24/7, crazy hours, never being home, to all of a sudden being home 24/7 and no longer bringing in a paycheck. And don't get me wrong, my husband, he made great money at the time, but I really felt like that was kind of a sense of my identity. Like, I wanted to contribute. And yes, taking care of your children, that's a job in itself. Don't even get me started on that. But I needed to make that income. And this is where I really started to dig a little bit deeper in my vision. With coaching, because I got to be honest, at the beginning, it was more about just transformations. And it was something that, I felt a purpose, but I wasn't looking at it like it was my job. It was my career. And would I fire myself if I didn't show up today? Right. So I started to dig a little bit deeper, and a sense of me, I started to feel shame and guilt. I started to feel really guilty because now here I am, 3 kids later. My husband's working all the time. And when I say all the time, I mean all the damn time, people. I mean 24/7, he's at work. I am the one that is always with our children. I'm the one doing stuff with them. And then, a piece of me, I started sitting back and creating this vision, and I started to feel guilty. And then I started to thinking of my childhood, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this was my dad. Like, this is why I feel like I don't have a relationship with him. And it was because he worked 24/7 while my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And a part of me, I really started to dig a little bit deeper, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe my relationship would be completely different if things were different and my dad actually had an opportunity to hang out with us a little bit more. And then I started to think about Toby, and one of the main reasons why I married my husband is because I knew that he wanted to be a present father. That was one of the main reasons why I fell in love with him, is his personality, how he was around children. And now I felt like I was the reason, because taking time away that he could potentially be spending with our children. And I felt like I did that because I wasn't contributing in any way financially. And even though he was just like, Jess, you got a full-time job here, and you're taking care of 3 kids. And at the time I had 3 kids under the age of 4. So I had a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a newborn. But still, a piece of me, like I felt so lost. And I was like, I need to really take ownership of what I want and how I can contribute. So that's when I started taking coaching a little bit more seriously. But I can't lie, the vision still wasn't there fully. It's like I started to think of my childhood, and I'm like, wow, I really want Toby to start showing up more for our children and being more present. And I don't want to be the only one going to all the sporting events. I want him to be there with me, right? I want him to be there cheering on our children too. And darn it, it's really hard when you are a mom lugging around 4 or 3 children that are very small. You really can't go many places. But with that being said, I realized too that something that was lacking, I felt like, was the money then. Because before it wasn't about the money with me, but then I'm like, oh, okay. If I want my husband to spend more time with our children, I got to start being serious about this coaching gig. I need to start bringing in a better paycheck so that he can ultimately be home with us and I can retire him. Say, hey.
Hi.
Hey, mommy's recording a video. Can you give me a minute, okay? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'm recording. This is life now, guys. But anyways, where was I at? But then that's when I finally found this vision of retiring my husband, and how I really, after digging in deep and really figuring out the compensation plan, because guys, you have that power. If you feel lost and you're like, I don't know what type of income potential that I can make, I strongly urge you to get on YouTube and see the potential that you have whenever it comes to this coaching opportunity. Because I have to say, as soon as I started taking it seriously, I easily surpassed my teaching income. And whenever I say easy, don't get me wrong, I did have a few years underneath my belt, but the second that I started having that vision of retiring him and I started being more intentional with my business, I went ahead and I surpassed that income. And now looking back on it, I'm like, holy crap, why didn't I freaking have this vision sooner? Why wasn't I more intentional with my business sooner? But guys, I can't lie. There was still like a missing piece. There was still a missing piece that I felt like I was missing it, right? So with that being said, this is shortly after my husband got sick. Hey guys, give mommy one more minute. I'm almost done, okay? One more minute. It's when he got sick. He ended up getting a fever of 107. And it was the scariest moments of our lives. And whenever I say that, I really mean it. He was literally on his deathbed. And this is where it's like you can't help to think these thoughts, but my mind was racing 1,000 miles per hour, being like, oh my gosh, what would I do if he was no longer here with us? And this is where I was like, I have to start taking ownership of my own life. What would I do if he was no longer here, right? What would I do if I actually had to be the sole provider for our children? And this is where, once again, guilt stepped in a little bit. I'm like, this is where I have to have ownership of my own life. Myself. All right, sorry guys, I had to pause it, take care of some children stuff. I hope that whenever I unpause it, I'm still good. But anywho, sorry about that. um, anyways, that's when after my husband got the fever of 107 and he was literally on his deathbed, that's where kind of an aha moment inside me woke up. Because I felt like for all of these years, yes, I was taking care of my 3 children, but I felt that guilt and that shame once again come over me, being like, oh my gosh, Jess, why haven't you been taking ownership of your life sooner? Why weren't you also the leader in your own life? And I feel like that's where us as women, being the primary parent, like it's hard on our souls. But guys, I'm sorry, that's where I can't help but to sit back and think like, if I didn't have this in my life, where would I be now? And guys, I would be lost. My mindset would be shit. And I honestly, I don't even want to sit and even think about where my life would be, because I know that there's a reason and a purpose on why Beachbody is in my life. And that's where the vision came, that I'm like, you know what, I have to be responsible too whenever it comes to my 3 children. I have to make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to be doing, just in case that the unforeseeable would ever happen. And guys, I'm sorry, but my husband's healthy as a horse. And whenever we went to the hospital and I took his fever of 107 and he was septic, my heart dropped. And whenever the doctor said that he was on his deathbed, like it's where it's like you almost fall to your knees and you're like, oh my God. And it's like you have all of these mixture of emotions and you're like, oh my God, like what would I ever do without him, on so many more levels than just financially. But if there's one area that I feel like I could take control over, I know it could be this, right? And that's where the vision really came to surface, that, you know, ownership of my own life and really creating that and so much more for my family. So now it went to not even retiring Toby, and also allowing him to also, you know, enjoy more family moments instead of working his life away like my dad did, because we have the opportunity here to actually do that for our spouses. But the bigger picture is really just becoming a bigger family unit and always having my husband, you know, being present in the moments where he wants to be present in them. And I didn't want to be the one that ever took that away from him, because of the type of lifestyle that we live now. But now I have to move on to the pandemic, because I feel like this is where it's kind of like another sucker punch. It's one of those moments again to where you're like, oh my God. And I don't want to sound ignorant or anything like that with this subject, because I know that it's really hitting home for a lot of people. But whenever I was, you know, taking a step back and really thinking how blessed we are being able to, you know, not only still work on ourselves physically and emotionally and spiritually, we also still get to do it financially. Because I'm sorry, if there's ever a time in the world where people need to focus on their health, it's now. Now is whenever people need to be working on their health more than ever. And on top of that, it's the most sustaining business right now is our type of business model. Why? Because we call the shots. We are our own bosses. No one can call us off. And guys, even with my husband working in the coal mine, I'm like, that isn't even certain. Nowadays, I just feel like nothing in life is certain unless you are your own boss and you're your own CEO and you call the MFN shots. So with that being said, I really want you guys to think about, create a vision for yourself and what is your plan A with this business. I feel like a lot of times for me, even whenever I first started out, I even shortly after I quit my job at the school, I started my own in-home daycare, but even that didn't give me the freedom that I wanted to. And I was working longer hours. Even though I was still in the comfort of my own home raising my babies, I would still have other people's children from literally 5:36 a.m. in the morning, and their parents wouldn't pick them up until 6 o'clock. And then I lost that time with just me and my family, right? So it really is the bigger picture of freedom. And even though it's like, yes, my children are here with me 24/7, I get to pick and choose the time. I get to decide when I work. I get to decide when I pick up that phone. And that's something that I became really intentional on. So with that being said, I really want you guys to think about hard what your vision is. And I want you to allow yourself to kind of go through the roller coaster of emotions and take yourself 5 and 10 years down the road. Where do you want to be? Are you someone that you do want to have children? And I wish this was things that I thought about in my life, but it's just something that I didn't do in the beginning. Really think about where you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years. If you don't have any children, do you want to have children? Think about, are you someone that you absolutely want to go to work? If you do, I have to say, not everybody being a stay-at-home mom is their jam. But if it is going to be your jam and it's going to weigh so heavy on your heart like it did mine, that's something that you should be thinking about now, because you have the opportunity now to start making an income, to be able to actually quit your job and feel comfortable about it and still have that type of ownership in your own life. So yeah, guys, I really hope that this video helped. And yeah, if you have any questions below, or if you feel like you're a certain stage in your life and you just need to dig a little bit deeper and you're not sure how, feel free to comment below and I will definitely help you create that vision and really just ask you some hard-hitting questions that will make you dig a little bit deeper. But all right, guys, much love. Talk to you soon.